My name is Sue, and I was raised and grew up on the east side of Vancouver, East Vancouver, in the 50s and 60s. Lived in a traditional, at that time, middle-class neighborhood. Most of the families there were middle class. It was a dead-end street, but all the families knew each other and they knew the kids. I grew up in an interesting family dynamic. As the oldest child and the only girl, with two younger brothers, one 13 months younger and one 4 years younger, things were not deemed out fairly. In our family, my younger brother, Douglas, was deemed the brainy one, the smart one. He was on the honor roll every single term. And my youngest brother was named the financial wizard, which he secured that title when he was 5 years old. And my mother received a phone call from a neighbor who said, "Is Bobby supposed to be selling pea plants?" And my mother went, "What?" She said, "Yes, he's going door to door with his wagon and a load of pea plants that he's selling for 5 cents each." And because my mother knew all the names, she said, "Send him home now." And she looked out in the backyard, and the little pea garden that I had planted had been completely dug up. So that's where Bob got his stock. My father worked. He worked downtown. He was in automotive radiators. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom. Again, something along the traditional line. There were 3 children in the family. I'm the eldest. I have a brother who's 13 months younger, and another brother who is 4 years younger. Nothing was said to me overtly during the time I was growing up or in high school, but the message that I got was that my options for beyond high school were limited. Basically, the options that I had was that when I finished high school, I could become a teacher, I could become a nurse, I could become a secretary, or the best choice, according to my mother, was to be a homemaker and give her grandchildren. Needless to say, those options were not really palatable to me. So when I graduated, I got a job in a bank, figuring, well, it wasn't a teacher, it wasn't a nurse. Yeah, it was a little bit clerical, so maybe the secretary thing. But what transpired is that I spent 30 years in that bank, not in the same branch. I managed to get around and try different branches, different departments, but I was there 30 years, and I don't think I was ever happy. I don't think I was ever passionate about the job. I didn't like the people I was working with. I didn't like the people I was working for. The only saving grace was that I could move around and get a whole new batch of people to dislike. So after 30 years, and I was prepared to go the route all the way to retirement, but the bank had different ideas. And just after my 30th year, they decided, I don't think you're suitable anymore. You're redundant. So we're going to lay you off. And I can't tell you how happy that made me. It was like a great weight off my shoulder. Like, my God, I didn't have to quit. They pushed me out. But then, what am I going to do? It's only like 52. And one of the things that they did arrange for me was working with a career advising company. And I worked with them for a couple of months, and we did testing and all kinds of questionnaires. And it was determined that really my strength was in education, teaching. Well, isn't that a bit of an ironic situation that a profession that I had turned down flat when I was 18, at 52, was something that maybe I could do and do well. So I volunteered at a local adult education center. And it was the best experience of my life. I volunteered 2 afternoons a week with 2 different teachers. I couldn't believe how happy I was. I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. I would continue to volunteer without ever thinking that I could get paid, because I loved getting up in the morning. I loved going in. I loved meeting with the teachers. This was a group of men and women who were very welcoming and concerned about the fact that I was there and how could they help me. Anything I needed. It was just, all I had to do was ask, which is not something I was good at, but I learned. I was volunteering there for about 3 months, and the end of the term came. And one of the teachers I was working with said, "Are you on the teacher on call list?" And I said, "No, because I'm not a teacher. I have grade 12. I left high school and I didn't go back." And I had some bank courses that I had to take, but they weren't anything that I could have counted on. So she says, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have a teaching certificate. We want to hire you. So bring me in your resume. I'll get it to the principal, and we'll put you on the on-call list. And I said, not sure if you heard me or not, but I only have grade 12. I'm really not a teacher. No, doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. And I said, okay. So when the school year started in September, I brought in my resume. And lo and behold, I was called into Human Resources, filled in a bunch of paperwork, and I was officially hired as an on-call teacher in adult education. Boggled my mind. So for my own needs, I needed to have something that I could hold and refer to and say, this is me, I am a teacher. I have taken courses, I've got my certification, whatever I needed to do. So I went to talk to the principal, who was a lovely man. He was very, very accommodating and just so focused on the students. And I said, I found a program that is a Bachelor of Arts. It's in the Fraser Valley, and it's a Bachelor of Arts in Adult Education. And he said, well, that sounds wonderful. And I said, so you recommend that I take it? And he goes, no, you don't need it. And I said, okay, well, you might not need me to have it, but I need to have it. So I enrolled in university at 52, and I completed my BA in 4 years. But that didn't make me a teacher. I needed a piece of paper from the BC government, the teacher certification. So the school district discovered we had a whole bunch of teachers who didn't have any certification. And that was against the BC law. We had to all have certification. There were about 80 of us in the adult ed program. And probably 1/2 of those teachers were let go. I wasn't, because I had a BA that I had just earned a month before the meeting. And I could qualify to get into the certification program. So for another 2 years, I went to UBC 1 day a week, winter, summer, fall, spring, and I earned my certification. In November 2010, at the age of 60, I was considered to be a full-time teacher. So, what did I learn? I learned that I don't have to settle for anything, number one. I deserve to be engaged in a profession, in a life that I love, that I'm passionate about. And I can do anything that I set my mind to, anything at all. I didn't think I could do 4 years of university, full-time university, while I was working. I didn't think I could do it. I had a career advisor at the university who stood beside me and sometimes behind me, pushing me, but she was there every single day. And so I didn't do it alone. And that was the other learning. I can ask for help. I can take help. I don't have to be a lone wolf. So I found my passion. Yes, it took a long time, and I went through a lot of crap, but I found it. And I've never been happier.